At sa lahat po ng nanonood sa iba't ibang platform ng PIDS, i-share ko lang po ang aking screen para makapagsimula po tayo. Ayan. Kita po ba ang aking presentation? Okay. So, muli po, magandang umaga sa lahat. Ang presentation ko po ngayong umaga, katulad po ng sinabi ni Miss Alyssa kanina, ay nakafocus po sa isa pang component or aspeto ng Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program o 4Ps. Katulad po siya ng targeting system na naunang pinaliwanag at tiniskas ni Dr. Albert. Ang grievance redress system po ay isang um, importanteng component ng program ng Pantawid Pamilya. Pero bago po tayo pumunta sa ah, ibang bahagi ng aking presentation, siguro po simulan po natin sa tanong, ano nga ba ang grievance o grievance redress? Ito naman po ay hindi naman po bago sa ating lahat. So, ang grievance, sa madaling salita, ay reklamo o hinaing. At ang grievance redress ay hindi man natin napapansin, ay karaniwan din nating na-encounter sa normal na pang-araw-araw nating buhay. So halimbawa po kayo po ay nawalan ng kuryente o nawalan ng tubig kahit kayo naman ay nagbabayad ng bill. Di ba po, ang gagawin po natin ay tatawag po sa ating local electric cooperative o kaya water system provider para tanungin kung bakit nawalan ng tubig at para masolusyonan po nila ang problema ito. Halimbawa kayo ay umaasa sa isang benepisyo mula sa isang government program o iba pang source. Um, Tapos hindi dumating itong inaasahan ninyong benepisyo. Kayo po ay malamang ay pupunta po sa ating ahensya o opisina na namamahala nitong programa or benepisyo na ito para itanong kung ano po ang nangyari. So ito pong mga pang-araw-araw na mga transactions or mga karaniwan po nating nararanasan ay ilan lamang po sa iba't ibang uri ng grievance redress systems na maaari nating ma-experience uh, sa ating buhay. Ang grievance redress system, sa madaling salita, ay isang paraan po upang makarating ang mga reklamo o hinaing o kaya mga suggestion ng mga benepisyaryo para masolusyonan ang mga problema na ito. So ito pong grievance redress system or GRS o kaya grievance redress mechanism ay hindi na din naman po bago sa mga programa, particular sa mga programa sa public sector or sa ibang mga social service programs natin. So in fact, sabi ni Panden Hussein, isa ito sa mga popular na social accountability and governance measure na inilalagay ng mga policy makers or program implementers sa mga programs and interventions nila. At ang mga CCT programs bilang isa sa mga pinakakomplikado or madaming components, nuts and bolts na mga types ng programs, inaasahan na yung mga GRMs or grievance redress systems ay makakatulong para ma-reduce yung mga risk na maaring ma-experience ng mga CCT programs katulad ng mga errors, fraud, corruption, and leakages. And itong mga GRMs, as mentioned earlier, they have eventually became the default social accountability mechanism for social protection, particularly in CCT programs, which pioneered by the Latin American countries. And unfortunately, yung current literature natin, there's a gap on how well these GRS or GRMs are working. And most of the time, these literature are only internal to the policymakers. So we attempt to fill that gap by comprehensively assessing the GRS of one of the biggest programs in the Philippines, particularly the 4Ps program. So, ngayon titignan natin kung saan ba napapabilang yung grievance redress system or GRS sa buong proseso ng 4Ps program cycle. So, kung makikita natin, yung grievance redress system can come into any stage in the program implementation. So sa umpisa pa lang sa identification of eligible beneficiaries, sa pagre-register, pag-release ng mga cash grants, at sa mga succeeding releases, pag-update ng information, compliance verification, lahat po yun ay pwedeng at any point during the program cycle or these phases, pwedeng pasukan ng grievance redress system. So at any point po during this program cycle, maaring makatanggap ng reklamo, hinaing o kaya mga suhestyon ang programa. And yung 4-piece GRS natin ay nagsisimula sa intake or response recording kung saan tatanggapin nung grievance redress officers yung mga grievances na pinafile or nakakarating sa na naisiparating ng ating mga stakeholders. So mula sa intake at response ay ito ay ipaprocess at magkakaroon ng resolution na kung saan naman ay babalik bilang feedback sa kung sino man ang file o nagparating nitong grievance na ito. At maraming iba't ibang uri or pamamaraan kung saan maaring makarating ang grievance ng 4-piece. So, madami po siya. Maaari kang mag-walk-in sa opisina, pumunta sa isang grievance desk, magbigay ng text, tumawag sa opisina ng grievance redress, magpadala ng sulat o snail mail, mag-send ng email, mag-post sa social media, katulad ng Facebook, o kaya naman ay pumunta sa website ng grievance ng Patawid Pamilya. So, ito pong mga nakalistang mga modes na ito only shows that very varied ways or madaming pagkakataon para maiparating yung mga suggestion or grievances sa programa. And sa research po na ito, ang mga objectives po natin is gamit yung data ng DSWD which is a very rich data set containing all the grievance cases that has been collected through the years, starting from 2014 up to the most recent available at the time of the study, which is 2022. We looked at the trends in the types and frequencies of complaints received through the program GRS. And we also looked into the responsiveness of the GRS in addressing these complaints and compare them to the standards na nakalagay sa mga policies ng GRS. So titingnan natin kung gaano kabilis yung grievance redress sa pag-address ng mga complaints na na-receive nito. And at the same time, sinubukan din natin tignan yung mga factors that influence the timeliness and resolution of these grievances. And at the end of the study, we generated some recommendations that would improve the GRS to enhance yung program effectiveness and beneficiary satisfaction. The only caveat po or limitation po ng study po natin is that this was done in 2023 using data from 2014 to 2022. So maaaring itong mga observations na ito ay na-address na ng DSWD o kaya ay hindi na ganoon ka prevalent sa ngayon base sa data nila, but it is still important to understand kung historically ano ba ang nangyari sa grievance redress system o kaya ay kung meron pang mga gaps na sa tingin natin ay pwede pang punan o kaya ay improve ng program implementers as well as ibang stakeholders. And as far as I know po, marami po tayong mga beneficiaries na hopefully ay nakikinig sa presentation. So I also encourage the beneficiaries to think po kung if the observations that will be presented were also similar or aligned with the experiences that they had. So kung ganito din po ba yung experience nyo nung kayo po ay nag-file ng grievance, at kung ano po ang naging resolution or feedback at timeline na inyong naranasan. Ngayon punta po tayo sa ating method. So ang methods po natin ay combination ng review of documents at iba pang mga quantitative components katulad ng pag-generate ng mga descriptive statistics since we are looking at the trends in the grievance data, as well as yung survival and panel data analysis which focuses on the responsiveness of the grievance resolution as well as yung factors that could potentially influence the resolution of grievances. And to supplement the methods, these three methodologies, we have also looked at past transcriptions of focus group discussions among 4Ps beneficiaries nationwide. These cover 32 FGDs nationwide, which were conducted towards the end of 2019 and early 2020, just before the pandemic. So the FGDs were used to supplement at magdagdag ng konteksto dun sa mga na-observe na findings using the three methods uh, of desk review, descriptive statistics, and survival and panel data analysis. So sa slide po na ito, ipinapakita lang yung ating mga data sources na ginamit. So, ang primary data source, gaya po ng nabanggit ko kanina, ay yung pong mga listahan ng mga kaso o mga reklamo mula 2014, 2022 na nagmula po sa DSWD. Meron din po tayong mga ginamit na ibang datos katulad ng coverage report po ng program, pagkakaroon ng mga force majeure or mga major events that affected the implementation of the program katulad po nung mga Typhoon Haiyan or Yolanda, pandemic, Marawi Siege, among others. And then we also looked at the mode of payment. So ito po ay kung ang proportion po ng mga beneficiaries ay naka-cash card na o kaya mayroon pa rin pong bahagi ng mga beneficiaries na nasa over-the-counter pa rin po ng mode ng pagbibigay ng cash grants ng program. And then lastly, we also looked at the M&E reports, policy issuances, and operation manuals that are used by the program in implementing the 4Ps. Okay. So this slide only shows the timeline of how the GRS policies and design evolved through the years, starting in 2008 when the program was launched among 300,000 households. And in 2009, the program started collection of complaints, but the deployment of the GRS started officially in 2010. Through the years, starting its official deployment in 2010, maraming mga naging pagbabago sa GRS. So, noong 2011, nagkaroon ng text hotline, nagkaroon ng Unified Customer Relations Management Application in 2012, and nagkaroon ng iba't ibang version ng mga program guidelines that aim to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the GRS. And in 2016, as you can see here, may naka-red po na font dito, nagkaroon ng downtime yung ating tinatawag na Unix CRM. And makikita nyo mamaya during the rest of the presentation kung paano ito naka-apekto dun sa volume ng grievance cases na natanggap ng program. Okay. So may iba't ibang uri ng grievance na natatanggap yung programa. Ang una dito ay yung mga grievances na patungkol sa payment o kaya dun sa natatanggap na cash grants ng beneficiaries. So, maaring sila ay walang natanggap, may under or overpayment, merong unclaimed na mga cash grants, at meron silang issue sa social service intervention. Maaari ding ang grievance ay related sa cash card. So, maaring wala silang card na natatanggap pa, wala pa silang replacement na card dahil nawala ang card nila dati, nanakaw ang card, hindi gumagana, o kaya mali or hindi gumagana yung PIN na natanggap nila kaya hindi sila makapag-withdraw sa kanilang cash card. Maaring ang grievance din ay tungkol sa inclusion, meaning nagre-request ang ating mga hindi beneficiaries na ma-consider at mapasama sa program. Maari ding ang grievance ay para sa disqualification ng existing beneficiary. Maaring makatanggap ng reklamo ang grievance redress na ang isang beneficiary ay meron ng regular income o kaya meron siyang high value properties at ah, ang ang layunin nito ay ma-disqualify o ma-delist na sa programa ang beneficiary na ito. Maaari ding magkaroon ng grievance on misbehavior, katulad ng vices, gambling, or misrepresentation and misinformation. Ang appeal for reinstatement ay para naman sa mga nawala sa programa na gustong mag-appeal na mapabilang ulit dito. And then we also have other types of grievances such as yung facility issue as well as yung implementer issue. Facility issue ay may patungkol sa kung wala ba or kulang ang access sa mga health and education facilities na alam naman nating may kinalaman sa conditionalities ng program. And then yung implementer issue, ito yung mga issue na maaaring makaapekto dun sa integrity ng program, katulad ng misinformation about sa design ng program, o kaya naman yung makaapekto dun sa amount ng grants na nare-receive ng beneficiaries. Ngayon, punta tayo dun sa trends ng ating grievance cases. Makikita dito sa graph na ito that through the years, nagbabago din yung volume ng nare-receive na grievance cases ng 4Ps. And kung mapapansin po natin, in 2016, there was a very noticeable na drop in the number of grievance cases that is received by the program. And it could be attributed due to the downtime of the Unix, or ito po yung MIS ng grievance redress, kung saan hindi matanggap ang mga grievances dahil down nga po ang system, so hindi po siya ma-encode at that time. And kung mapapansin nyo, meron ding mga spikes ng mga volume of grievance cases, and looking back at the timeline of the uh, evolution of the grievance redress system, some of these spikes in the volume of grievance cases coincide with the improvements or major initiatives in the grievance redress. Some of the spikes we also observed are coincide with some major events. For example, in 2022, there has been a spike in inclusion requests, presumably because during the pandemic, madaming mga naging transient poor. So, maraming nag-request para mapabilang sa programa. And then, tinignan din po natin yung seasonality ng ating grievance cases through the year for each month. So, kung mapapansin po natin dito, generally, wala namang apparent na seasonality in the grievance cases, except that towards the end of the year, particularly in December, bumababa po ang intake ng grievance cases, which could possibly be due to the downtime in office operations, which affect the encoding. What this highlights is that the intake of the grievance cases is reliant on the capacity also of the program grievance offices to receive these grievance cases. And then, in terms of grievance cases by location naman, wala namang proportional increase in terms of the numbers of grievance cases when the number of parties recipients in the region is higher. However, this highlights only that there is some variability in the volume of the grievance cases. So, meron yung mga regions na malalaki yung mga natatanggap nilang grievance cases. And if you see, and kung titignan natin yung staffing by region, makikita natin na because there is a different variation or pagkakaiba ng volume ng grievance cases, lumalaki din yung ratio ng staff to grievance case sa ating mga ibang region. For example, in Region 4B, ang bawat isang grievance staff ay may hawak na 31 na cases. Compared mo siya dun sa ibang mga region na maliliit lang yung volume ng ating grievance cases na natatanggap, na merong isang case lang sa bawat staff na assigned. And kung titingnan naman po natin ang ating types of grievance cases na natatanggap, as expected bilang ang 4Ps po ay isang conditional cash transfer program, ang karamihan ng ating mga grievance cases na natatanggap ay payment-related or card issues. So ito po yung kulay blue sa ating graph. So consistently siya na mataas sa bawat taon. However, kung mapapansin po natin, meron po tayong mga spike po dito ng mga orange. Nitong 2018, ang nangyari po kasi ay nag-introduce ng panibagong grievance type na related to mga uh, gender-based violence and other issues that were later on not included in the succeeding years of grievance implementation. Ito naman pong gray ay spike din po for inclusion request. So kung mapapansin niyo po kanina, as mentioned, kapag merong mga major events that increase the proportion of transient poverty, for example, in 2022, nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, and then 2014, which is immediately after the Typhoon Yolanda, um, there has been a spike or dumadami po yung ating inclusion request. At kung titignan naman po natin ang mga subtypes or yung mga mas detalyado pang disaggregation ng ating mga types of grievances, mapapansin natin na underpayment is a huge proportion of the payment issues. No payment follows next. And then for the card-related issues, delayed or inaccessible yung replacement card. And then for the misbehavior, what we have as the highest report in misbehavior is pawning, which is around 47,000. And then for the other types of grievances, I would like to highlight here that madaming natatanggap yung GRS ng 4Ps na grievance on other programs that are outside the jurisdiction of the 4Ps. For example, in 2020, there has been a spike of grievance cases on other programs such as the SAP program and other programs that are implemented by the DSWD that are not the 4Ps. So for example, yun po sa mga AICS, SLP and other programs, dito po siya napapaloob dun sa case of other grievances. There are also other grievances that are actually inquiries lang and requests for update on transactions. So because of the volume of these other grievances that do not necessarily have to be within the jurisdiction of the grievance officers that are handling these grievance cases. So medyo nababawasan yung load capacity ng ating mga staff instead of focusing on the things that they can control and they can act on. So in terms of mode intake, very popular po pa din sa ating mga stakeholders ang paggamit ng in-person or in-person modes of grievance filing. So ito po yung mga grievance forms, pag-walk-in or governance desk. Although meron pa din pong gumagamit ng ating mga remote modes of grievance filing katulad ng text, social media, it only represents a very small share of the grievance cases that are received by the program. So what this only highlights is that important yung contact point between the grievance filer and the DSWD, and it provides an imperative for upskilling of the client-facing staff of the DSWD. And then in terms of timeline of grievance resolution, I am happy to note that most grievance cases are resolved under a year, and the median is 0.4 months or 12 days. This means that kalahati ng ating mga na-observe na grievance cases have been resolved after around 4 months or 12 days. And if you will see the table dun po sa ating slide, yung pong mga grievances na natanggap from 2014 to 2020 as of the date of the study, they have all been resolved, which was in 2023. So wala na pong natitira from the grievances in those earlier years. Meron na lang pong mga kakaunting bahagi ng 2021 and 2022 grievances that have not yet been resolved as of 2023. These are around 5 and 7% respectively. And kung titingnan po natin by type of the grievance, kung mapapansin po natin, the inclusion request take the longest to be resolved. So the median for this is 33 days. Halimbawa, samantalang yung others naman po natin are those that are generally resolved quicker, possibly because most of these others category are pertaining to programs that are outside the jurisdiction of the 4Ps. So they usually end in referral to the appropriate office. Kaya po mabilis ang resolution rate for these others. And then when we looked at the recommended grievance resolution time for per type of the grievance cases, we noted that actually yung mga grievance cases that have prescribed timeline that are longer compared to the others, those are the ones that are resolved within the appropriate timeline. And the lowest proportion consistent with the earlier graph is still inclusion request. Compared to the prescribed timeline as of the latest operations manual, 32.2% of the inclusion requests are resolved within the target timeline. So there is room for improvement with regard to resolution ng ating mga grievance cases compared to the timeline that is stated in their policy. It also can warrant a review of the existing policies kung realistic ba talaga yung mga timeline na ating prescribe para ma-resolve yung ating mga grievances on time. And these results are mostly consistent with the earlier FGDs that were used to supplement the analysis. So during the FGDs, there were some FGD participants that were aware of the grievance redress process, but these are usually more concentrated among the parent leaders because the parent leaders are those who are well-versed with the program design and policies. There are some beneficiaries who are not aware, however, and some are only aware of one mode of grievance intake. In particular, they are only aware of the grievance desk during the payout because that is something that they can already see during the payout ng over-the-counter. So kaya po sila familiar dun. And their most cited grievance cases are payment-related issues such as yung kulang na amount or pag-aantay ng replacement card. And one of the notable cases that were mentioned during these FGDs is kapag nag-request ng change of grantee, sometimes it takes 6 months to 2 years to be resolved. That is not always the case, but there are some cases na tumatagal ng ganito. And some of them raise that they don't have clear understanding whether they are still eligible to receive the cash grants na-miss nila habang inaantay yung replacement card at the time. And then one of the key feedback that we got, not just from the beneficiaries but also from the staff, is that they do not have immediate access to the status of the grievance cases. Hence, there is some gap in the feedback loop that needs to be closed. And we also looked at the factors affecting the resolution of the timeline of grievances. This is based on the 2017 data because ito po yung merong data na available for the other variables na tinignan natin sa estimation. And what we know from the results is that yung timely resolution of payment-related complaints is influenced by the mode of the grievance submission, and there are very strong regional disparities, meaning that maybe we need to look at what is happening at the regional level and see if targeted interventions towards grievance resolution is more appropriate to increase the efficiency of the GRS. And to summarize the results, first, the grievance spike after procedural upgrades and major shocks, as well as dips during events that impede the collection of the grievances. Halimbawa po yung pagka-down po ng ating MIS in 2016. And as expected, bilang CCT program po siya, payment issues are most frequent complaints of the that most frequent complaints received by the GRS. And then in-person channels are always are consistently the most popular, but other modes are still able to receive grievances. So they must still stay operational. And then the overall resolution rates are generally high, especially for short deadline cases. Resolution speed is driven by submission mode and significantly vary by region. And from the FGD, some beneficiaries say that they have limited awareness of the grievance procedures, and this emphasizes the need for real-time status updates as well as clearer feedback among the staff and among the frontline staff and the beneficiaries. To give recommendations. First, we start with the strengthening of the GRS infrastructure. This involves yung improvement po ng data management, regular data quality checks to ensure that the administrative data that is being collected from the grievance cases is still reliable, accurate, and able to capture the correct situation from the ground. It is also important that yung definitions po natin, typologies in the data are consistently updated or standardized to make sure that the data that we still have are still making sense. And then following the observation that the in-person grievance intake modes are still very popular, it highlights the need for enhancing staff capacity. So yung client interfacing skills that are required to respond to concerns as well as yung mga grievances that are outside the jurisdiction of the program are also needed so that the grievance officers are able to respond appropriately and hindi sila nabibigla kung doon sa types ng ibang grievances na nare-receive nila. And then periodic training, especially for data encoding and data managers, is also recommended. Thirdly, there is a need to promote beneficiary awareness, continuous education on resolution process of the different grievance types, and the closing of the feedback loop. Ibig sabihin po, mas maganda sana kung hindi lang bottom to top, mabuo din siya dun sa top to bottom part. Meaning, kung ano yung status ng mga grievances, sana merong immediate access yung ating mga frontline staff and beneficiaries para nalalaman nila and nararamdaman nila na merong nangyayari sa mga grievance cases na fina-file nila. And lastly, there is a need for regular evaluation and monitoring para alam natin if these systems in place and as designed are actually functioning and that they are aligned with the policies and performance indicators that the program is trying to achieve. And ultimately, to as a closing lang po siguro, the main message is that actually the DSWD or the 4Ps is already very commendable because having a fully functioning grievance redress system provides the opportunities for the not only the beneficiaries but for the general public to hold the program implementers and the policymakers accountable, transparent, and it's a good governance measure that is in place in the program. So that is all, and thank you very much for your kind attention. Salamat!